Hello, you're listening to Hibs Talk. I'm your host as always, Gav. Joining me today is Dave.
Alright.
And Stephen.
Hello.
Guys, how's getting on?
Good.
Good. Much better than yesterday this time?
Yeah, well, much better. I was hungover by 8 o'clock. Had too much to drink. Obviously stopped drinking like back at 2.
Aye.
So the hangover had kicked in by 8 because after the game I was what time. So
yeah, I have to say I was the same, and drank loads of diluting juice and was in bed by 9. How was your night, Stephen? I know after watching the game you had a nice night at Gordon Ramsay's.
it was nice actually. Really nice restaurant. Good food and that. So that was my highlight of the night after the football. But yeah, it was interesting.
Aye. So obviously we're going to be chatting about that today, but in part 1 we've appointed the manager, so we're going to hear from Shaun Maloney and have a reaction ourselves to the appointment, and in part 2 we'll discuss the cup final, and in part 3 we'll have a preview of the Aberdeen game. So enough of us chatting, let's first hear what Shaun Maloney had to say on his first day as Hibs manager. Shaun, firstly welcome to Hibs. So how's your first day been?
Yeah, it's been really positive. It's extremely busy, and I've really enjoyed it. The main part is always training. I know we have lots of media, but the main part is generally the training and meeting the players. And then over the next coming days, try and get to know each player, create that connection, and get as many ideas as possible across, and just get the players to actually really enjoy playing under myself and my staff.
In an ideal world, what does a Shaun Maloney Hibs look like?
Do you know what? It's hopefully winning as many games as possible. I think the style will come in terms of that. The style is something that I see as just the best way to win a game, while giving the team, while giving the supporters something that they can be proud of. Now, how long that takes, I hope it's as quick as possible. At the moment, I'm trying to give the players as much information and get them in a place where they can really look to enjoy the game on Wednesday. But we're going to have to fight. We're going to have to fight in and out of possession. Aberdeen are a good team. So, we have to go and compete, and then we have to go and try and dominate the game.
In terms of implementing that style, 4 games in 2 weeks, and then a 3-week break after that. Do you think that 3-week breaks were potentially somewhere where you could have a bit more time with the players? Yeah,
for sure. I think that I think in the next 2 weeks it's going to be, there's lots of games. I think we're going to have to be very creative with how we manage to coach the players on the pitch, and obviously outside that, we have to be aware as well of creating a really good feeling, and getting the players to actually feel like they're part of how we want to play, because I have to inspire them to play a different way. That's our challenge as coaches. We have to find the messages as quickly as possible, and then we get to January and almost reset, and we can start to work on the players a little bit more on the training pitch.
Obviously, your first experience of Easter Road as a manager, have you got any sort of memories of Easter Road as a player?
I've played many times. Positive moments, less positive when in the opposition. What I know is that when the support have that connection with the team and they find a real sort of inspiration in how they play, then it's a very, very tough place to come. And I think I really want to create that. I want the team to feel like they're part of this journey wherever we're going. So I'll definitely reach out to as many of the sort of supporters groups and try and listen to as much as what they have to say. And we have to be together on this journey, myself, the support, the players, and we have to have that connection with the owner, because if we get that, then it's going to be very strong and powerful moving forward.
You mentioned January, they're only a few weeks away. Is there any parts of the team you're kind of already identified?
No, I spoke just today. Look, I think I have to concentrate on the players in the building, give them as much opportunity as possible to perform in training and in games, and then within that I have to look within the academy. I have to give our young players an opportunity, and then after that the window will take care of itself. But the priority has to be the players we have and the players in the academy.
Right, best of luck.
Thanks very much.
We also have another 2 clips here which I thought would be good to be put in. One was about the decision to come to Hibs and being sold on the vision by Ron and by Ben, and then also we had him discussing about his decision to leave Belgium. Obviously a very difficult decision, so here's what he had to say on that as well.
I think to start with, it was definitely the owner and the CEO. CEO first. I think it was just very honest, really sort of inspiring discussions of the vision of where they want to take the club. And then when I looked, obviously I've been in the Scottish game for a period of time when I was a player, so I knew when this club, when they're really successful and what the support can be like, very difficult place to come. And when I started looking at the support from the semi-final to the final, it was just that excitement and inspiration for me, and I really want to I couldn't pass up this challenge. Really, incredibly hard. First off, for the head coach there, Roberto, the connection I had with him was very strong, and I'll be forever grateful for the first opportunity to work with him, and also the man he's been in the last week. So he's the man I know he was, and he's been incredibly supportive in this period in the last week. So very difficult. I'll miss the players greatly, but I'm going to be their biggest fan now. I really hope they can do great things in Qatar.
So, guys, before we discuss what we heard from Shaun there, your initial thoughts when you heard Shaun Maloney. Dave, start with yourself.
I was shocked. Like, this was last week.
Yeah, came out last week.
So shocked, but then immediately quite excited that the fact it was felt refreshing compared to the other names on the list. Now, didn't get me wrong. I know this wasn't popular, but I was quite big on the idea of Neil Lennon coming back because I want a bit of fire and a bit of fight in the team and a bit of excitement. So, and whether that would have happened or no, because it might have all went tits up, but who knows? But I was quite excited when Shaun Maloney. So yeah, when I looked at the list and the players that he's worked with, and you think and then straight away you're like, why would you leave Belgium to come to Hibs?
Yeah,
He's got a pretty cushy position there, so that's one of the first things I thought, and then I was quite happy.
We spoke last week, and we done a who's next and went through all the names, and we never even mentioned Shaun Maloney, and then perfect time in the Tuesday it comes out that he's the heavy favourite.
Yeah, like you says, I mean, wasn't even on the list, never even mentioned him once, and then all of a sudden out the blue, there he is. For me, I wasn't obviously inspired at the very start. It was like a lot of it just giving me flashbacks, Arteta under Pep, and that was the kind of feeling I was getting from this coach that's never managed a team yet, very inexperienced, but coached big players. Coming to Hibs, bit of a shock, but yeah, after his interview today, a wee bit more inspired.
I mean, we heard it there when I was speaking to him there, and also when he spoke to Hibs TV today. I mean, a lot of emphasis on attacking play, something we've been critical of the previous manager of.
Yeah, 100%. And one of the things that a few folks saying, Jack Ross was sacked too early, and this, that, and the next thing, they're like, I wonder if it's the right decision on, so Shaun Maloney might fail, right? He might, but then he might, bring attacking football, and I don't know where I'm going with this.
I mean, I think where you're going is I know where you're going. I've done this for long enough. A lot of people were saying it's harsh on Jack Ross getting sacked because he got to a cup final and third last season and only a few points off fourth. So sacking a manager like Jack Ross, Shaun Maloney must be thinking, oh Christ, what must Adam have to do for success? Because obviously getting to those finals, getting to those semi-finals. But I think if we'd had the sort of same results as we've had under Jack Ross, but we were playing really exciting attacking football, I think there'd be a bit more leeway from the fans and also the board.
Pretty much like Alan Stubbs. Like we says that when Stubbs was in charge, never really done much apart. Well, obviously won the Scottish Cup, but in the league, he never really had many good results. He wasn't getting us promoted. I was sad to see him go because he brought that attacking football. Lennon, before he left, he was bringing that attacking football
at times,
but he done it when it counted, and he done it in the big games. Maloney playing attacking football. If he doesn't win, obviously I think I'd be happier going to a game where we were getting 9-10 shots away than these fine margins and hoping for a 1-0, 2-1.
Where I think I was going with is that even if Shaun Maloney, for example, didn't work, it's a step in the right direction from the board and that to be like, right, we want to try and get attacking football in.
Yeah.
So even if he doesn't work, it doesn't mean that Jack Ross would have been the answer if he'd stayed longer. And that's what I think. I mean, I think it's a step in the right direction. And is it a risk? Yeah, obviously, he's never been a manager, but for me, it's a risk worth taking because the football I'm watching makes me know what to go Easter Road. And look at the attendances, it makes a lot of people think that. So step in the right direction for me, and it's quite, like I say, it's refreshing and it's exciting, and imagine he can just bring something that he's learned, like all the skill sets that he's learned for training players that he's been playing, and obviously Martin is Premier League manager and that at the end of the day, so
But you look at him as a player as well. He was always attacking, never passed the ball back once, from what I can remember in his playing career. So, if he can inspire our players, maybe give Scott Allen a chance again, because he's the type of footballer that we need in the squad, and he's the type of footballer that I imagine Maloney would like. So,
in terms of what we could potentially expect, I mean, obviously it's a bit of an unknown because, like you've both just sort of said there, he's not had the experience being his own manager. But under Belgium, there was they did play a few formations, but the one they mainly played was that 3-4-3. The two wingers playing off the striker and obviously wing backs. So I mean, in terms of the current Hibs side, with Muller and coming in, do you think Muller and Boyle playing off of Nisbet or Doig as a 3 and a 3-4-3 could work, especially when you've got like Cadden and Doig for wing backs?
Yeah, it's there. Yeah, I mean especially when Muller comes in January. That's big for Hibs, because I know we were talking about the game yesterday. For me, the team's no balanced right at all. Like the left hand side's just there's nothing there.
Too reliant on Murphy.
He doesn't do anything. Let's be honest.
Yeah, he's been poor.
We'll get onto him more in the semi-final chat.
Yeah, but I think getting the balance right going forward anyway is important, and obviously Maloney said that he wants to get younger players in. So yeah. Hopefully that means O'Connor.
Can keep the goalkeepers the way they are though.
You've not even seen him.
I mean, Steven's got a bet on it.
A bet on. All right, okay.
The
So
Brewski won't play
5 games. 5
games for
Premier
Hibs.
League games.
Right, okay.
50 quid.
Aye.
It's not with me, but
No, it's with Joe. Yes.
I hope
It's
he
his
loses
money
that
I'll
bet.
be taking.
I think he's a good keeper, and he seems like a really nice guy as well. So fingers crossed, he's Hibs #1 soon. No disrespect to Messi, but I like Big Kev. Anyway, we're going off topic. I mean, is there any players that you think, we're obviously speaking about potential systems, we're talking about Muller coming in, which will definitely help and stuff, finding that balance of the team. Is there any players that could potentially thrive under Hibs or even get second chances?
I think Doig will probably be the biggest person to benefit from it, especially if we play the 3. I think that Nisbet's form, Maloney won't be afraid to drop him, and I think he's needing it now. He's had far too many games without a goal. So,
Dave, any players do you think could benefit?
well, you've got like players that you just think were completely out the window, like Halberg, for example, who probably would have left if he never got injured. But now you've got to think, there's a chance for him, especially in that midfield. The midfield is so boring, and if Maloney's want to play attacking football, then like I'm not saying Halberg's like maybe the answer, but is he going to help like that middle 3 not be as flat as it is? Possibly. He could transform a couple of players.
Yeah.
So
I know you're saying about Doig, but for me it's Nisbet. I mean, I know there's probably a discussion to have about Nisbet, which we've done in the past, but in terms of the performance yesterday and stuff, but I think he has been so deprived of chances. And if we're playing attacking football and creating chances, and he's getting 3 good chances a game rather than 1, then he's going to score 1 or 2 goals, and then we're going to get Nisbet getting confidence, scoring more goals, and I think it'll all kick on from there. So to me, he's the one I'm most excited seeing, especially like I was speaking to Maloney there about having that 3-week period, and I think we'll see the real benefits come the Cove Rangers game. I'm really excited seeing Nisbet in the second half of the season.
Move.
I mean, there is that, but let's face it, there's nobody probably going to be majorly interested considering his form in the first half of the season.
And Hibs will probably see that as a priority as well, getting his form back, because let's face it, we're a selling club. We want money for him, so we'll not want an asset to be like obviously depreciating as much as he has.
I genuinely just think a couple of games on the bench, start Doig, and if Doig isn't scoring, bring Nisbet on. But he's not even scored 5 goals this season. Don't even think he's got that in the Premiership.
Couldn't have something I had need to check, but yeah. And then Tim, like I say, it's not just Maloney that's came in. It's a sort of real management team. Gary Caldwell back at the club.
Bit of a surprise, but a good balance. Got a defender and an attacking player as coaches, so
yeah, hopefully a better coach than he is a manager.
And a few others as well. So it'll be interesting to sort of see how that sort of management team comes together. And David Gray sticking around, which is good as well.
And Craig Sampson.
And Craig Sampson staying as goalkeeping coach, yeah. But yeah, and then he mentioned there about sort of just concentrating on the squad that they have there. Is that a press answer, or do you think he genuinely believes that in terms of January signings? I know obviously we'll do loads of content about January signings the next couple of weeks, but are you hoping to see folk come in?
Yeah, I hope that that's a press answer, because even if he's just watched the Dundee game and then that game yesterday, he'll realise that depth wise we're poor, and that the middle of the park we're not creative enough. We're far too reliant on wings, so we need, like, I know obviously Miller coming in, and then there's just quite a lot of surgery needing done that whole team, because I'm just about to start being like, oh, defence. But yeah, we need a big January window, to be fair.
And it's 4 games in 2 weeks. Like I said to him there, those 4 games are Aberdeen at home, Dundee United away, Celtic at Parkhead, and then Hearts at home. Real baptism of fire for him, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. But I think that's what he needs to jump in at the deep end. If he gets results against 3 out of the top 6 clubs, well, even Dundee United are top 6 now. So if he can get results against any of them, if he can pick up 6 points in the 4 games, I'll be happy.
Don't think he's going to be judged
No.
that heavily in those games, to be fair. Like, obviously we want to see, we'll probably just take anything, won't we, in the 4 games, and then let him get some signings in. Like, I won't be judging him heavily. Like, I'm not expecting to turn up to Aberdeen and us be whipping the ball about and playing the ball on the ground. I'm not expecting that straight away, but it'd be nice just to hear a wee bit of a spark, and just to see him maybe tweak something, just a wee bit. I hope I didn't turn up and it's the same team that's been playing the last, like, week or two.
Yeah. So yeah, interesting few weeks ahead with Shaun Maloney in charge. Like I say, we'll be definitely talking about his tenures as the weeks go on. Our 3rd manager we've covered, 4th manager. Aye, because like I say, when we started the podcast, Lennon had just been appointed, and then Lennon left and Hecky came in. Obviously Jack Ross, and now Shaun Maloney. So yeah, 4 managers in 5 years is not great. So hopefully this one's around for a long time for us to talk about for years to come. One of the exciting things that he did say there was about the academy players, and like I say, in terms of January window, looking at the players that we've got in the academy first. I know you mentioned a couple of players there, Dave, but that's really exciting and really promising to hear that, isn't it?
And that's what the fans are want to hear. And folk have been saying, oh, get O'Connor. And then if you're ready, you're ready. And what age is he?
18. And he
Come on.
got, was it 2 goals and an assist or something on Friday night or something?
2 goals, 2 assists. So
2 assists, jeez.
And then we're looking to sign this 18-year-old for Ireland. Like, and we've got one banging the, like, fine, bring the boy in for Ireland, but just go and grab him for doing the training centre and be like, right, do you want a game with him against, like, start him, or even just bring him off the bench, let him get a bit of a feel about it. And the guy, he's obviously got something about him. You just didn't want to lose that type of talent, or like maybe like stunt his development, like we've done for years with like Shaw, Harris, Hanlon, like all like promising and then nothing coming to them. So we need to do something about it in pronto, and I hope that means he gets a chance.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few players across the pitch, and that's the thing. Like, obviously, we're saying that we're lacking depth in the first team squad, but if you look at the academy, we've got players that'll fit every position. You look, obviously, Doig's just come through this season, really. Josh Campbell's just coming to the squad at, what, 21-year-old, is he now?
I think he's a bit older, actually. I'll check
Probably,
that
he is probably older now, but he's been around the squad for a few years now, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. But like Dave says, if you've got a player that's banging in goals every single week and we're struggling to get goals in the Premiership, put him in.
Let's see a couple of names on the bench at least, like something that can be like, oh, like a wee bit of excitement in that before the match. Like the midfield, the bench. You're looking at the bench before the match, and
that's the
Oh,
thing
it's
though. I mean,
depressing.
like, look at the start of the season, we had Stephen Bradley sitting on the bench and that, but fans were getting excited just because he was on the bench.
How exciting was the Arsenal game when he played brilliantly,
Exactly.
and a youngster like that starting the game, or him. I was really excited about him coming off the bench this season. Instead, he shipped out on loan, and it's like I think he's probably benefiting from his loan, and he's starting every game and stuff. But
then look at Gullen last season when he was put on loan at Rafe. It was next best thing to come through, and then obviously come back to Hibs and done nothing. So I think O'Connor, bring him in especially during this period where we've got 4 games in 2 weeks. It's a lot of running for like 2 strikers in the squad to do between them. So
and we're speaking about, like, so you've said it there, but we're talking about attacking football, getting the fans excited, giving the fans a reason to go along and enjoy the games. Seeing young laddies on the bench especially we know Josh is a Hibs fan, and obviously his dad played for Hibs and stuff. So players like that on the bench coming on, even if it's just 15-20 minutes towards the end of the game or something, it'll be a great experience for them. If we're trying to see a game, game management, but also if we're winning quite comfortably and they can get a few chances, then brilliant. That's what we want to see. And it's been a bit frustrating. Some of the, I think we spoke that this Hibs have tried to pass off that they're being great at bringing through youngsters. I think Josh Doig, great. Now do more. And there's not really been much else of that in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Campbell's came in the last few games, but other than that, you're struggling. You're going back to Porteous before that probably. So hopefully more youngsters coming through, and some really exciting times ahead. But it was not as exciting yesterday. So let's unfortunately have a chat about the League Cup final yesterday. So moving on to the cup final yesterday, a bit of a disappointing and frustrating day, I think it's fair to say. A lot of contemplation afterwards on the walk back to the car. But so let's have a chat, go through the game. Let's start with the first half. Dave, what was your kind of thoughts on the first half approach?
That's not what I want to see at all. I don't think we strung 3 passes together, and the whole point is just stay in the game as long as we can. But then I don't know what the tactic would have been if Celtic just would have 1-0 up early doors.
Yeah, I mean, they had a chance cleared off the line. Messi made a save. They did have opportunities they could have taken.
The first half was absolutely dreadful. If you were a neutral watching that. But obviously, we get into half time and you're like, right, fine. And you can almost accept the first half because you're still in the game. But it's not what I want to see. I'm not wanting to watch the ball getting hoofed up the park.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Like you say, wasn't even 2 passes made it between them, and it just invited pressure a lot. I don't know how many dangerous attacks Celtic had in the first half, but literally every single pass went straight to a Celtic player.
I thought Celtic didn't look on it.
No, they didn't.
For me, the first half,
that's fine though. They were running probably 40-50%, and they were still showing us up. It was. It was all our own doing though. If we were able to complete a few passes, it might have been a bit of a different game, but we were just stuck in our own half the majority of it.
But I mean, you said before the game, Celtic, often come out the traps and hit teams early, and I mean, it was frustrating to watch as a fan, especially when it's a final, but it was effective at the end of the day. I mean, I know they did have a couple of chances, but I think even at times, Boyle was kind of right back, Murphy was left back, and he had a compact back four and inside of that. So it was almost like a back 6 at times, but it was effective. We did get into the second half at 0-0.
I think one of the things that Celtic are good at, and it's actually quite scary when you watch it happen, is breaking. So that's probably why we want to committing people forward or try to do anything, because when they break, the pace that they break it, and then they're just it's like a wave coming forward. We've seen it a couple of how fast they got.
I think if Turnbull never got injured as early as he did, I think we probably would have went 2-0 down in that first half. Because like Dave says, on the break, that's where they play it. Eh?
We never gave them a chance to break the first half when it were left their half.
That's it.
Yeah, I know. It's a strange one. I think if we're doing it in the league, or especially next week, if we're doing it at Parkhead, I can probably go right. Fair enough. But I think because it's a final, you just want a bit more. But maybe we're right to respect Celtic in terms of because we did get to 0-0. But at the end of the day, like you said, they were kind of having an off day, and Turnbull went off, so maybe we're a bit fortunate with those two as well. Clearing us off the line, it wasn't exactly plain sailing. But in the second half, we got the goal. It was a corner. Straight away went to you. I was like, why is Joe Newell not taking it, considering he set up Boyle from the corner in the semi final? But Wardano, Boyle floats it in, kind of bobs about, and then Hanlon smashes it in, and brilliant goal and brilliant celebrations.
Yeah, the place went wild for how long?
40 seconds, I think it was.
Yeah.
Maybe a minute in terms of starting and stopping, but yeah.
That was just because nobody could see their goal through all the smoke.
Oh, I seen it all right, unfortunately.
But I mean, it was a fun minute or so, wasn't it? It was one of the best points of the day, that minute.
Yeah, and well, to be fair, and I actually meant to say this when we were talking about the first half, but the 2 cheers in the first half were for 2 tackles in our own half.
And Enter Sandman at half time was class.
Yeah.
You weren't as impressed as I was with it, but that's a cracking tune to get on, and was a good headbanger.
Yeah, you were dancing a bit next to me, and I was trying to look the other way and pretend I was with the boy next to me, and no you.
But yeah, I mean, it didn't take long. I mean, obviously, there's been a lot of social media clips of it shared about, and I looked at the sort of times yesterday. There was a clip that was on. It was 1 minute 12. They kicked off, and 1 minute 20 they're in the box, or 21 I think in their box, and 22 it's in the back of the net. Too easy, Stephen. Eh?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I rate that Keo Go boy. I've said it for the start of the season that I've liked him, but it's frightening that they had that much space. Porteous handling, just watched them drift by. It looked as though they were still too busy celebrating our own goal that they just forgot the play had went ahead, and it was just sucker punchy.
Switched off. Simple as that. They need to be much more switched on than that. And there's 2 moments that we switched off, and it was 2 moments that cost us. Because we were, as much as we were born the first half, the defence was good because they were like weren't creating much at all. So yeah, especially after you score, like. Nah.
It's the most vulnerable time, eh? Like everybody's still on a high.
That's what everybody says, and yeah, it will obviously happen. So.
And then, like I say, a bit later on, there's a bit of confusion. There's a free kick. Was it a free kick, do you think?
Nope.
No.
I said it at the time.
It was not a free kick, but Celtic get the free kick, and then it looks like there's going to be a substitution. So the players are kind of concerned about there being a substitution, and Celtic take the free kick quickly. The play doesn't get pulled back, and Celtic get in and score what turns out to be the winning goal. Paul McGinn, spoke about after the game, very frustrated. A lot of criticism of beating off the back of it. What's your kind of thoughts on the goal?
I'll go first if you want, because at the time I was annoyed at the defence more than I was with. I never knew about the fourth official going to come out in that at this point. So at the time I was quite annoyed. Obviously everyone in the boots all going, oh, beaten, like never a foul and that, and I'm like, well, I turned around to the boy, didn't I, and was like, that defence have got to defend that. You can't just switch off and let somebody run on it. And then a few, as I've said it in the group chat, you've seen it on social media and that, what's the first thing you get told when you're playing to the whistle? Didn't do that. Murphy should stand in front of the ball, doesn't stand in front of the ball, then we just again switch off. So they 2 moments have cost us a cup at the end of the day. Simple as that.
It just goes against the credit that defence deserved. Like, they were pretty much apart from the 2 moments. They were solid. They'd done their job. We were actually proud of it. Like, it was a defence that you could be proud of. And then 2 moments, like Dave says, probably a minute and a half combined, concede 2 goals. Just goes to show you, but Dave's right. You play at the whistle.
Those fine margins, eh?
Aye. The words are now banned.
Fair enough.
For the podcast.
I mean, I'm more agreeing with you guys. I think probably a better dynamic for the podcast if we're all in disagreement and stuff. But in terms, I completely agree with you. It's like, understand people blaming the referee and the fact, I understand what they're saying. We probably would have had that pulled back. But at the end of the day, the referee hadn't blown his whistle. He does that. I believe it's 2 whistles to indicate a substitution. The referee hadn't blown that. The players have to ignore what's going off the pitch and worry about what's on the pitch. At the end of the day, Celtic have got a free kick. They might take it quickly. Get yourselves into position as quick as possible. Don't worry about, there's probably going to be a sub, so it'll be fine. Just get yourself into position. Stop worrying about what's on off the pitch. Play at the whistle. Basic schoolboy stuff.
But the referee was absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
I used to think he was biased towards Rangers, right?
Just biased towards
and
Glasgow.
No, but I don't even know if it is biased towards Glasgow. I think he is. I think he's just shite.
Aye.
I think what's annoying about it? He'll have a game at the weekend.
Yeah.
It doesn't deserve it.
He should be dropped.
He should be dropped, because if you watch back, there was a bit of confusion about what's going on, because at the end of the day, fourth official shouldn't be coming out with a board if the refs know. So I can see why Hibs players are aggrieved or why they got a bit confused, but for me, the learning for that would be never do that again. So that's why I'm more annoyed at the players, because they're meant to be professionals and
But
know the basics.
There was moments in the first half as well, though, like he was overruling the linesman.
It's when he came out and picked up Kyogo after Kyogo dived, and he came out and picked him up.
Never
to go.
gave him a card,
Are you all right? Aye. Like, what do you mean? Why is he on the ground if you're not give? He never gave a foul.
No.
So why is he on the ground? Why are you picking him up?
You saw it in the Rangers game a couple of weeks ago as well, though.
Disgusting.
It's exactly the same.
You see the footage of Kyogo going up and like putting his head like gently into Stevenson, and then turning around and then looking at the linesman and going like, "Are you seeing this?" It's like, what?
He does it all the time. It's
like, weird, eh?
Aye, he's got a weird obsession with it, and he's brilliant. He's
fantastic talent.
He's one of
but he's weird.
One of the best players. Well, he's probably the best player in the league, but he just like, what is he doing all this for?
It's a strange one. And then, like I say, there was a bit more sort of excitement. I was saying to you at the game, Dave, I was like I was trying. I was saying this to you, but I was saying it to myself. I was trying to convince myself. I was saying we're getting one more chance. We're getting one more chance. And I was thinking, I just tried to convince myself we're going to take it. That chance eventually came. I didn't even see the push on Deutsch, which probably should have been a penalty. And then
it was Porteous that went done.
Was it Porteous? Sorry, Porteous. And then the obviously Nisbet hitting the post, and then it falls to Hanlon, and just think it's somebody who deserved. He played a captain. Apart from the obviously two instances for the goal, Hanlon's a captain's performance. Some people have criticised him with stuff like that before. He was a leader yesterday, and he deserved a second goal. He deserved to get us back into the game. He deserved his first goal, and he just blew it over the bar. Just a frustrating few minutes.
Side-footed it. See if he just laces right through it. That was in. Joe Hart was just stood there for the header. Like, he was a mannequin for that. And because we had you're saying that was the chance, but we had Kevin Nisbet had a chance where he absolutely skinned the boy, megged him, and then he probably should have just lifted our Heart a wee bit, but then he never. So that was a big chance as well. But the chance in the last minute, but it was a penalty. Should have had a penalty, but then we should have scored the rebound.
No, I completely agree. Yeah, wasted chance. Like, play at the whistle again. As if Porteous goes down and doesn't get a penalty, everybody should be on top of it. And
Reward, I think Newell went to go for the ball as well, but I mean, Hanlon just got it first.
Yeah, it's just it's one of those things. Like, if it fall, just we were speaking beforehand. We're in the shed and they had the footage of the 2016 documentary and stuff, and we were talking about how everything went right for that, and the stars aligned. It was just like the stars weren't aligning yesterday. I think if the stars had aligned first, Kyogo wouldn't have been fit for a start. The referee would have had a better performance, and I know that the chances like that would have went in, but it just wasn't to be, unfortunately. But it's frustrating because, like I say, it's a missed opportunity because Celtic were there for the taking yesterday.
Yeah, I think so, and that's probably why I'm a wee bit more annoyed at the way we approached the game, because for me we could have created a bit more. But then, whereas if we were opened up a bit more, that would maybe created more chances for Celtic.
I think I would have rather lost 3-4-1 and like went for it in the cup final, especially the last 20 minutes. When you're 2-1 down, just go for it. Try and get that goal. And I think they waited until the last 5 minutes of injury time.
I mean, I think that was Celtic the way they were set up. They, credit Celtic in terms of because they can be quite bad at shaky at defending, especially when you hit them on the counter and stuff. But I thought they done quite well to kind of stifle out any chances we were trying to create, and in terms of like going long the last few minutes, like it's not something we're used to doing, but maybe should have been a bit more effective at it. But aye,
their support wasn't up to much.
No.
I thought Hibs fans were louder than them. I mean, the first half probably muted everybody quite a bit. To be fair, there wasn't much going on, but yeah, I thought they were poor for how many there was. And I think
I think that's 8 finals since 2007, or since after 2007, 8 finals and come back with 1 cup. It's kind of frustrating being a Hibs fan now, isn't it?
Yep. And we spoke about this on the way back to the car, walking back to the car, and I know that you can't take 2016 away for us, right? That's there forever, best ever. But you imagine that hadn't happened, how shite the last 15 years would have been being a Hibs fan. It would have been like, oh, nearly, but not quite there. And the performances in every final, like, it's not like, well, we should have won one, or
St John's one man
never been good. So yeah, a bit frustrating. Second half much better though. So
created more chances yesterday than we did in the whole game against St Johnstone. Like St Johnstone Celtic, like how do we create more chances, especially a first half performance like that? So in the second half yesterday, we created more chances than we did against St Johnstone. Just the one against St Johnstone, Jackson Irvine half chance.
This is what I hope Shaun Maloney brings, like, because we're talking about like finals and that, and then again all this fine margin stuff and that. That's not what I want. I want to go out and do what we done in 2007, against Kilmarnock. Go out and just absolutely batter a team. Why? Because we can, because we've got better players than them. Not go out and be like, right, let's stay in this and hope that we can sneak it, or like, yeah.
Said that a couple of weeks ago though, before Ross had left. It says that's what we need, just to go out and batter a team 4-5-0. We've got the players that can do it, especially the weird teams like St Mirren and stuff. Like, we shouldn't be drawing with them. Like, these are teams that we should be getting big wins against, like we were when we were in the Championship. We were battering them 4-0, 5-0 every game.
It's one of those ones where, like, no disrespect to Jack Ross, I think, for example, if he'd been in charge for the Kilmarnock game in 2007, we'd have won the game, because he is a very talented coach, but it would have been 2-1, maybe 3-1 at a push. Never would have been 5-1, because we would have got that lead and it'd be like, right, let's see you at the game. But in terms of going forward, hopefully that's something that we can see a bit more of the attacking play. Really excited about the appointment. But anyway, in terms of Shaun Maloney's first game as manager, it is Aberdeen, so let's have a chat about that. So Aberdeen on Wednesday night, Shaun Maloney's first game. Let's quickly have a wee chat about Aberdeen. Dave, what's been your thoughts on Aberdeen so far this season and in the last few games?
Well, they've picked up in the last couple of games. Before that, they were. See, to be fair, they're actually in the same season as us. Like, even when you look at like goals scored, like everything about it, so they're only a point in front of us, and their goals, they've scored 23, we've scored 20. They've let in 22, we've let in 21. So, and I guarantee you, if you speak to a Hearts daft, obsessed. But if you speak to an Aberdeen fan, they're going to be like bored and that, and then they're all questioning Stephen Glass. So we probably, if you sat down with it in a pub, you'd have a lot of similarities with an Aberdeen fan in it.
Yeah.
Even style of play, they play with quite a flat midfield as well, like Brown and Ferguson in there. And then when I looked at the lineup for the last game, a bit bizarre. Like, they've obviously wedging players in, because that left back's injured, isn't he?
Yeah, Ramsey, aye.
So he's been one of probably the most promising for them. But then they had Ojo at right back and McCrory in the mid centre defence with Bates. Yeah, bit bizarre. And Thingy left back, him that used to be at Celtic, the good looking one. Johnny Hayes.
Johnny Hayes, aye.
So,
but 3 wins on the bounce for them, though.
Yeah, they obviously turned around and scored a few. The last game they actually 4-1. So
well, they won 1-0 or something at the weekend, but the game before that.
4-1. It's because our games are coming
against St Mirren,
thick and fast.
Yes,
struggling to keep up.
Yes. What have you made so far? Any players stuck out for you at all?
Well, for me, it was Ramirez. Like I said at the start of the season, he'd probably be the signing of the season in the Premiership. He's one behind Tony Watt, I think, in the goal scoring records. I think Watt's on 9, he's on 8, but he's got 2 assists as well. So 8 goals in 18 games. It's not a bad return,
especially your first season in Scottish football. Yeah.
So I think he's probably the one to watch. He got a couple in the 4-1 game against St Mirren as well. So his form's been, I think he went similar in his, but another similarity. Went a few games without a goal. So but he's got his couple, and I think he'll be the one to watch for us.
And Matthew Longstaff's loan has been terminated early on the way back. That's a strange one. I thought he would do a lot better. Was it no him? The brother
scored against Man U on his debut.
Aye, crazy. But yeah, he's away back there, so that's been a kind of shite one for everyone involved. But obviously Maloney's first game first game as manager. He's trained the team today. He'll train with them tomorrow, and probably a wee bit of prep on Wednesday. Not a lot of time to implement a lot of stuff, but I mean, what are you expecting from his first game?
Hoping for a 3-5-2, like just go back to that. It worked for us in the game against Dundee. We played better as the 3 at the back, so that'll be for me. I think we need to start playing Doidge and Nisbet up front again.
Interesting.
For me, it's the only way I think Nisbet will start getting goals again is if he's got somebody to play off. and we all know how good Doidge is at holding up the ball. So he'll be able to pick it up and maybe give Nisbet the chances if you want to keep Nisbet in the team. If not, I would drop him and I'd put Doidge in for me.
I want to see him put. I know it's only on the doors though, so like a wee bit he's in a twist on something, because I was disappointed that David Gray never done that, especially at home to Dundee, and that was the same team that Jack Ross had been playing, and to be fair, it was the same tactics. It was very flat and boring and never created much. So I would quite like to see something to show what his intent is, but I'm not sure what I'll be able to get done within a couple of days, to be fair to him.
Even to me, even if it would be like you say, a lot of people say about, but do we know everything about Scott Allen? To me, something as simple as, no disrespect to Josh Campbell, but somebody like Scott Allen playing, who when he gets on the ball, his first thought is let's play the ball forward, and I think people, ourselves included, have said about Newell and Doyle Hayes being a flat midfield, but is that partly due to the instructions that have been given from the management team? If they're given different instructions to get the ball and drive forward, or to play balls forward, or get to be looking forward rather than sideways and stuff, and what if the instruction is to kind of retain the ball, that's the way they're going to play. But if they're given different instructions, could we see a different approach from them?
I think especially for Newell, he never came to the club as a defensive midfielder. He came with that eye to move forward, and we saw it when he came back into the squad after he was dropped. So I'd like to see more of that for him again. Doyle Hayes can hold the ball. He can play that holding midfielder role, and it gives Newell, and if we brought Allen back into the team, it gives him that freedom. So yeah, I think that would be it for me. Like
just a wee bit more intent for the team though. Just when they're
100%.
getting the ball, they're looking forward rather than sideways.
Yeah, and then especially when you're Aberdeen at home may be different. Maybe play the two holding, but when you're playing at home against Dundee, why was sitting with like two holding midfielders, and then again Campbell's no attacking enough for me. Doesn't provide the strikers with anything, and that's why Nisbet's struggling. Because if you're marking Boyle at the game, then you're laughing, because the midfield's not providing anything unless it's coming from him. So it needs to be something like that.
One that I'm actually meant to talk about in the cup final, briefly talk on now, somebody who started the game on Sunday was Jamie Murphy. Any sort of time we got a counter attack, it kind of often went to him. Boyle was kind of kept quiet. It's just that decision making's no right, and just he's kind of slowing up the play rather than a quick counter attack at times, which is what was needed.
Yeah, and his finishing is not the strongest either. Like I know he scored against St Johnstone, but he did have a couple of chances against St Johnstone that he maybe could have done better with. And then his chance against Dundee when he came on, he probably should have hit first time. Confidence probably quite low, so he's took a touch and then lost that. So yeah, for me, he's a player that we probably can't rely on, and we won't rely on when Muller comes in. And what about Mackay as well?
Yeah, it was a strange one. I know he's had injuries, but he was one I was really excited about. We've not seen him. He was tearing up the championship last season.
I think he's still injured.
Yeah,
I think he's still on the injury list. But
so that he'll feel like a new signing, and then you've got the boy coming for Wraith.
Yeah, so we've already got 3 signings in the door, effectively.
A couple of options, and if we start seeing Scott Allen more, it's make or break for Scott Allen in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
If nothing happens over the next 4 games before that window opens, then he's away.
Yeah. It's a strange one. I think we might just quickly on Murphy. I mean, I said this earlier on to a couple of guys. I think he's a player who's been really unfortunate with injuries, and who's probably having to adapt his game a little bit because of those injuries. Can't rely on his pace as much, and having to change the ways, and it's just not working. I might rediscover that form, but I don't think, if we want to be pushing for Europe, winning cups, we can't wait around to see if he does it. I think, unless he does something magnificent under, you said about Allen the next 4 games, I think it's a massive 4 games for Murphy as well. And I think if we don't see that, he's probably quite a high earner as well. I'd maybe one I'd look to move on in January, because it's just not worked out at the end of the day for me.
yeah.
But anyway, let's finish up with score predictions for the game. How are you feeling going into it? Is Shaun Maloney going to get a win in his first game at Easter Road? His first game, full stop.
I'm going to go 1 each, just because they've picked up a bit of form, and we've got to remember, like, I'm not deluded. I know how we've been playing and all that. So yeah, I think it's quite a big game in the sense that you want to keep them quite tight, because we want to finish above them. So don't want to give them any more breathing space. So
I think 2-1 Hibs. I'm being a bit more positive this week. I think we normally do have that new manager bounce as soon as somebody comes in the door. We tend to get a couple of results, and I think Aberdeen will be a big game for Maloney to come in. Obviously, he'll not like input a lot into the team by then, but there's a lot of players that are wanting to play, and this will be their chance. I think Scott Allen will get a game. And if he does, he'll provide the shots on target. So yeah, I'm hoping 2-1 Hibs for me.
I'm deluded. 3-1 Hibs.
Oh Christ!
We're going to demolish them.
Yeah, you are deluded.
So like I say, let us know what your score, what you think the score will be, and how you're looking forward to Maloney in charge. What you've got planned for the night, guys?
Don't know.
Dinner, and that's it.
What are you having for dinner?
Don't know.
Do you not know? No.
Pasta and meatballs for me. I think.
I don't know either. I need to sort out. Really, I was hoping that we could have a wee chat about food there, but I have no idea what I'm having myself. So that's pretty
Yeah,
blunt.
that failed.
Yeah, never mind. But yeah, it's been a busy few days. Like I say, the cup final, Spider-Man last week, which was really good. Press conference stuff, and I wasn't expecting the press conference today, so we're recording this a wee bit later than we planned. Sorry, Dave. I know you were desperate to get here and get home, so later dinner for you. But thank you for that. So yeah, we'll wrap up there. Enjoy your night, guys. Thank you for being on today.
Always a pleasure, never a chore.
Let us know your thoughts and who on Shaun Maloney and everything we've discussed today at HFC Talk. Subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Thursday night episode of Hibs Talk Extra Time, where they'll look back at the Aberdeen game and ahead to Dundee United. We'll be out on Thursday. I believe they're joined by Callum this week, and we'll be back next Monday. Cheers, guys.
That's about.